What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about the UK Royal Crown. That crown, I was watching the coverage of Queen Elizabeth's funeral last week, and there was a really special moment I saw where they were handling and transporting the crown. There was a scepter and there was an orb. And, that crown is iconic. Even in the United States, that is iconic. That has got to be the most famous crown ever. And I'd like to know how that crown works, by the way, as in, is it passed on from monarch to monarch, as I assume it is? Does a king get a different crown than a queen would get? Are there multiple crowns? There's a few things that are a little unclear to me about the crowns. I'm gonna be honest. And I'd never really seen the scepter or orb, although the scepter makes sense. That orb, that historical heirloom or artifact, I wasn't quite sure what that was, and I thought I should watch a video to teach me. I'm living in 2022 at the time of this video. The internet can teach me, so why not? I was really interested, so let's take a look.
Concerns about her. In the crown jewels of the United Kingdom, St. Edward's crown is the centerpiece.
Whoa, wait. This is actually perfect. So the crown jewels, collectively, the crown, the orb, and the scepter here, are referred to as the crown jewels. And the crown has a name. St. Edward's crown. Okay. I was wondering about that, actually.
Representing inheritance of the royal lineage, all the way back to Edward the Confessor. Edward was canonized in the 12th century, making the crown a holy relic. He wore his crown 3 times a year, at Easter, at Pentecost, and at Christmas.
This makes me think, how often does the monarch, Queen Elizabeth, and now King Charles, actually wear this crown? This crown is like a big deal, if you know what I mean. Like a historical, piece of art. Not piece of art, but, although I do appreciate its beauty and craftsmanship, that's why the word art kind of comes to my mind. But this, historic artifact, this piece of history, how often does the monarch in the United Kingdom actually wear it? Is it for certain ceremonies? Yeah.
Upon his death, he had asked Westminster Abbey to look after it in perpetuity to keep it safe for all future English kings. Edward's crown was probably in regular use by monarchs until 1399, when Richard II presented it to Henry IV. Richard understood that he was not only handing over the literal crown of gold and gems, but he was also handing over the metonymical crown of royal power, removing his own claim and establishing Henry's. It was again...
Yeah, I totally get that. This crown, a crown, is a symbol of being the king or queen. That is the de facto symbol. When it is placed upon your head, every person on earth understands that you're now the king or the queen. You have the crown.
Again in regular use until 1533, when Henry VIII crowned his queen, Anne Boleyn, with it. Likely, this was an attempt to sate concerns about her legitimacy, as she was his second queen. But she was obviously his true love, for now at least. After this act, its significance as a religious relic was downplayed, but it was still a civic relic. It represents...
Is this same crown, St. Edward's crown, the same crown that's used in the modern day? It's hundreds of years old, and it's been passed down this long. It has never been lost or stolen or destroyed or anything. This is a, serious part of history in the United Kingdom. That's pretty amazing.
Entered the Kingdom of England as a whole, and the king's divine right to rule it, as bestowed by God himself. Parliamentarians weren't a fan of this. To them, the crown was symbolic only of the detestable rule of kings. And so after the English Civil War, it was sold, melted down, and it was rumoured to be circulated as golden coins.
Oh. So that was St. Edward's crown, and it is gone? It was melted down. It was destroyed, quite literally. I didn't actually think that would happen. So there is a different crown in existence today. That's the crown that I'm probably familiar with. Okay.
After the monarchy restoration, Parliament created for Charles II a new crown, modelled after the original, but the new crown had the addition of archers holding up an orb at the top.
Oh my, yes, here we go. This, when you think of a crown, this is what you think of. This crown. And it's a beautiful piece of work, I have to say. The arches, really, there's no other crown that looks quite like it, or at least if they do, it's just an imitation of this one. It's pretty amazing, and my goodness, look at those gigantic jewels all over it. How much is this thing worth? Besides the fact that it is like a piece of priceless history, I'm just saying the materials used to make it, what is that worth?
These alterations made it not only a civic relic, but an imperial crown. It represents the civic duty of the monarch to their people and to Parliament, whilst also representing the monarch's role as the head of the Protestant Church.
Okay.
Only a decade after being created, the new crown was stolen by a man named Thomas Blood.
What? What is all this madness happening to the crown? It was stolen?
An Irish parliamentarian. He'd flattened it with a mallet to make it easier to steal. After being caught, Blood demanded an audience with the king, Charles.
Where do they keep it? So he broke in to the palace or wherever it was being held, squished it, stuffed it under his coat, and ran out, and then was caught. Like, I mean, it's pretty amazing. It only makes the crown even more amazing, honestly. That I'm sure at the time they were really, really, really mad. But in hindsight, it actually makes for a pretty great story.
Charles II. The king acted accordingly. Blood was pardoned, given a sizable pension, and a vast...
Whoa, wait, what? What? Why was he pardoned?
After being caught, Blood demanded an audience with the king, Charles II. The king acted accordingly. Blood was pardoned, given a sizable pension, and a vast plot of land in Ireland, which has led to accusations that Blood was actually a royalist spy.
What?
The newly constructed...
He stole the crown and then was rewarded, like some kind of cyber security expert that you hire to hack your computer to find its faults? Is that what happened? Because I can't rationalize this any other way.
Crown was used in the accession of three kings, Charles II, James II, and King William of Orange. But monarchs found it too heavy. It weighs 2.5 kilograms, as opposed to the imperial state crown, which weighs less than half that.
Wait, what? See, this is where I start to get a little underprepared, a little confused. There is... Well, I'm actually not sure what this one's called, unless we're just calling it St. Edward's Crown, but the original St. Edward's Crown was destroyed, and this is St. Edward's Crown number 2. And this is the Imperial Royal Crown on the right?
Kilograms, as opposed to the Imperial State Crown, which weighs...
The Imperial State Crown, so they must have different purposes, obviously. I wonder what that is.
Less than half that. St. Edward's Crown still played a passive role in future coronations, not actually being placed on the monarch's head, but sitting nearby, until 1837 in Queen Victoria's coronation, where it was not present at all. Edward VII, in 1901, wished to reuse it, but as he was recovering from surgery, he too opted for the lighter Imperial State Crown.
Man, who would have thought that would make such a difference? The Imperial State Crown just wins again and again and again just because it's practical. Because it won't hurt your neck the next day by wearing it.
It was then used by George V, his son, and has been used actively in all coronations since.
Oh, okay.
That's right, all two of them. George VI and Elizabeth II.
Well, this is incredibly relevant, isn't it? I imagine this crown is going to be used at King Charles' coronation. Is that the only purpose that this crown is used for now? Just at the coronation as like a symbolic kind of thing? That's very interesting. And it's about to be used again very soon. That's pretty interesting coincidence.
To symbolize her royal authority, in 1953, Queen Elizabeth II added it to her royal insignia, replacing the Tudor crown, where it remains today, emblazoned on all postboxes, all Acts of Parliament, and my passport. In the unlikely event that our eternal Queen dies, Prince Charles will likely be crowned with St. Edward's crown, continuing a tradition that, in some ways, goes back over 1,000 years, and in other ways, it doesn't go back that far at all.
Okay. Oh, that's it. Well, not to worry, I have more videos. Speaking of Queen Elizabeth II, I found this video that says it's her explaining the imperial state crown, which now I'm pretty sure is that second crown that's lighter in weight, that they must use more for more ceremonies or visitations or appearances. Certainly very crowny. It's just, I would say it doesn't quite have the same incredible appearance as St. Edward's crown, but that doesn't mean I don't want to learn about it from Queen Elizabeth, nonetheless.
The imperial state crown. Anyone who's been to the Jewel House at the Tower of London will know there are several crowns to be seen there, but only two of them are actually used. The St. Edward's crown and this one, known as the imperial state crown.
Okay.
It's normally kept at the Tower, but I have it here at Buckingham Palace because I wore it this morning.
I'm sorry, it's normally kept at the Tower of London? So that's where the crown jewels are all kept? Okay, that was important for me to understand, I think.
At the state opening of Parliament, here at Buckingham Palace, because I wore it this morning at the state opening of Parliament. The crown, as you see it now, was made for Queen Victoria in 1838, but many of the individual stones have a much longer history.
Oh.
The oldest is probably this sapphire, which is said to have been worn as a ring by Edward the Confessor nearly 1,000 years ago.
Oh, I didn't realize that each of the jewels on the crown have their own story, their own history. That just makes it even more amazing. It's this collection of history. My goodness. Look at this thing, it's sparkling.
The pearls are said to have belonged to the first Queen Elizabeth. The story goes that this strangely shaped ruby was given to the Black Prince after a battle in Spain in 1367.
Okay.
I always like to think of it being worn by Henry V during the Battle of Agincourt.
Okay.
It's difficult to be absolutely certain about some of the other stones, because after the execution of Charles I, Cromwell had the crown jewels broken up and sold.
Oh.
The Black Prince's ruby, for instance, was sold for £4.
What?
But it was returned to the crown after the restoration of Charles II.
My goodness. This crown, and I'm sure the other crown and the crown jewels, they have a crazy history to them. Fascinating history.
Most of the bigger stones have had adventures. According to tradition, this huge sapphire at the back was carried off in his pocket by James II as he went into exile in 1688.
Okay.
It was over 130 years before it was restored to the crown.
He just snagged it. He saw his opening and snagged it and then ran for it. Wow.
This great diamond is a more recent addition. The first star of Africa is even bigger and is in the scepter.
Oh, okay.
Both of them are parts of an immense diamond which was found quite by chance by the manager of a mine in South Africa in 1905.
Sheesh.
Apparently, he just dug it out of the rock face with his walking stick. This is a model which shows you what it looked like.
Oh my gosh.
The whole Cullinan diamond, as it came to be known, was given...
What is the crown that she's wearing right now? Some kind of less, probably not as heavy, and maybe a crown she kind of prefers to wear. It's obviously smaller. It's very elegant, very befitting of a queen. Some of these crowns get pretty gigantic. I understand why they wanted them to just, for practical reasons, weigh a little less. Plus all those giant jewels all over the crowns. As cool as it is, it's a lot.
Given to my great-grandfather, King Edward VII, on his birthday.
Oh.
The Dutch jeweller, who had to split it before it could be polished, was so overcome by the responsibility that he fainted as he struck the blow.
Oh.
But he did it perfectly. There are two smaller pieces which my grandmother always referred to as the chips.
Okay.
This crown is worn at openings of Parliament and after a coronation. The other one, the St. Edward's crown, is only worn once, at the moment of crowning.
Okay, that's a good distinction. I'm glad that she specified that, because I was really interested. What is the specific difference between the two crowns? When are they used? So that helps. Oh, there they go. The crowning. Oh, that's it. Thank you, Queen Elizabeth. That was very nice. Being able to wear like the 2-pound giant crown for a second during your coronation, it's like a rite of passage. You gotta get the St. Edward's crown on your head and survive 5 seconds. And then, okay, you can take it off and put the imperial state crown on, which is much more practical. I never realized there would be so many interesting details to the different crowns. And honestly, it all makes sense. It's all pretty practical. And there was some information a little bit here about the orb and the scepter, which I was wondering about because I'd never really seen those before. The crown. I mean, when people think about a crown, they often just think of, the crown that the monarch of the UK wears. That is the crown. Like, when I think of the design of a chess queen, like in digital chess, they often go with, or king, I should say, they often go with the design of the St. Edward's crown with the round edges that go around the fabric. It's a very unique design. And the craftsmanship is pretty incredible. I wouldn't have minded if they had gone into how they forged that thing and assembled all the jewels and all that. I love that kind of stuff, the artistic side of it. But nonetheless, it's a fascinating historical item, and I enjoyed learning about this. This was really nice. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to the United Kingdom, Great Britain, culture there that I have never seen or experienced ever before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.